And what's up, everyone? This is Beyond the Woodline. I'm Joe DeMoyos, and I have my beautiful and talented co-host Shannon Rogers. How you doing, Shannon?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. What you been up to?
Glad the holidays are over with, except for New Year's. Just got back in town from Jefferson
Yeah,
Hotel last night. Took my mom and my aunt out there to go play with some spirits and just trying to get these calendars full,
I hear you. I hear
booking
you.
stuff.
How did that go? Your little trip.
Oh, it was good. There was a lot of people, so it was just kind of like it was almost an introductory to paranormal investigating. But there was a lot of newbies there, so it was interesting. But they revealed a new or unveiled, sorry, a new like room that's
Okay.
in the attic, which was part of the rooftop before. It's hard to explain unless you went in there, and there's definitely some weird negative energy in there. But I felt very lucky to be there the first night they were unveiling it, so it was cool.
Cool.
Jeremy and Pam are amazing people, so they're always good company.
Yeah, cool. There goes Beth already saying, "What's up, family?"
Hey, Beth. I can't see the comments today, so absolutely
Okay.
thanks for letting me know.
Okay. Cool. All right. Cool. So today we have a very special guest, Miss Kristi Grissom. How you doing, Kristi?
Doing pretty good.
How was your holidays?
Um, a day like any other day.
Well, that's good. Yeah, mine was for the most
Madhouse.
part. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
mine was for the most part too. It was pretty cool. I
I
can't.
was like, what? Oh, it's Christmas. Oh, sorry. Forgot to do the Christmas cards. Whoops.
Yeah. Yeah, someone says, "Hey, Kristi Grissom and Shannon Rogers." I'm not sure who that is. You guys have to give StreamYard permission to use
Hello,
your
hello.
names. Yeah,
Yeah, because it's just coming up.
right.
It's not giving your face
Yeah,
or who you are.
yeah,
So,
But
yeah.
we're glad you're here.
Yeah, we're
yeah.
glad you're here. We're glad you're here to support the show. We really appreciate that. Um, like I said, we have Miss. It says me
Hey,
Channing.
Channing.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, just let us know who you are. So that way we can acknowledge you guys by name and not by Facebook user. but
Channing, she's awesome.
but yeah, Christy, tell us a little bit about yourself right off the bat, if you don't mind.
Let's see. Got 4 kids. Live in North Carolina. Um, Retired military. Love the paranormal, of course. Um, Not nothing too special. I'm pretty boring unless it deals with paranormal.
Whatever.
Yeah. Well,
So
thank
She's
you for your
very
boring.
service
active in the
anyway.
paranormal.
Yeah, thank
She's
you for your
very active in the
service.
paranormal field. Yeah.
What branch
Oh
were
yeah,
you in?
thank you for your service.
I was in the Air Force. I was a
Air Force.
firefighter
Okay.
in the Air Force.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah.
I like that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, my son's a Marine. I gotta tell everybody that every chance I get, I have a Marine son.
Right. I
So,
have a good friend, Lori. She's a Marine, and we always go back and forth, making fun of, the Air Force. And I'm like, shut
right.
up. Just because you were a Marine doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything at all, right?
Right.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what got you started into the paranormal.
I mean, I'm sorry, it kind of broke up.
What got you started into the paranormal?
Well, actually, it started probably at a very young age, but I didn't understand, what it was and what was happening, why I was seeing things. And I grew up in a family that would not understand that. So it wasn't until probably in my 20s that I knew exactly what it was. And to be honest with you, I started watching some shows and I'm like, holy shit, that makes sense. This is what's happening to me, like the sleep paralysis. I know they think it's a scientific thing,
Right.
but I don't know if I buy into that theory because it's happened to me since I was 6 years old, and it's not fun. I don't think it's hallucinations. I think it's something that's either trying to talk to you or scare the shit out of you. Either way, it works.
Right.
They do. you know.
So what got you actually like investigating, whether it was about yourself or other people? Were you just like trying to research on your own or?
I did do some research on my own. I was watching a show called The Haunting. I think that started way back in the like around 2000 or something like that, and I loved watching that. So I would go out into the woods and try to find things, or just sit and listen to see if I can pick up on things. Actually, one of the episodes, Amy Allen was in it way back before anybody knew her from Dead Files. And I was so enthralled by the way she did things and picked up on things. So it was something that I would try to do myself instead of having the equipment. Of course, I didn't have any equipment back then. But then I guess about 7 years ago, I started with a group, Gaston Paranormal. And that lasted for a little bit, kind of, you know, everybody went their separate ways. But now I'm with Our Haunted Lives here in North Carolina. If David and Neil are in here, hey guys. So that's about how I got started.
Okay. So like, what was it like going on like your first official investigation? What was that like?
The very first official was with Gaston. We went to a home. It was about a 3-story home, and I didn't have any equipment then. I had a regular camera, recorder, and you know, I wasn't scared. It wasn't like it wasn't anything that, you know, I was not wanting to go in. It was, I wanted to go in. I wanted to go into the basement. But then I started picking up on things that made me a little uneasy. And there was a wall that had been painted over. And there was something about it that just bothered me. And I didn't want to go near it. And one of the girls that was with me, they said that, I can't remember, you know, like a year prior, that they went and had to paint over the walls because there was all kinds of satanic, you know, graffiti over it and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I was picking up on that, and it was a little unnerving, you know.
You're pretty sensitive, though, I've noticed. We kind of ping off each other a lot, but yeah, I can definitely tell you're sensitive.
Yeah, it comes and goes. I can't, I'm not quite there where I can control it, but, you know, if I can, I can, you know. Sometimes I freak people out, but, you know, it's nice.
We were talking earlier about the first time, how we met.
Right.
I was at a Goatman's Bridge, and I was using the divining rods, the dowsing rods, switch sticks, whatever you want to call them. And I was live, and Dustin Garrison was went live, and that's how I ended up meeting her. She was watching. And then we just started chit-chatting and talking and stuff. Are you using the rods? Have you started using them?
I have used them. I haven't bought any yet. Still in that kind of stage. But that's what I was watching you for, because I saw that you were using them. And for some reason, I was like, I need to watch this and see how she does it. Now, Neil and David, they use them a lot, but I haven't quite got there yet. But that's why I was telling you what I was feeling over the phone, and how the hell that works, I have no idea. But apparently, it was accurate. So,
That's pretty cool. So, like, what other places have you investigated that you were picking up on negative?
Oh wow!
Entities?
Actually, about a year ago, the first time I started going to like the ghost hunt weekends, Chad Morin has that company, and I saw that they were coming to a town close to me, and I was like, hey, Corey, my son, I was like, let's go check this out, because the Wraith Chasers are going to be there. And I was always a big fan of them, you know. I was like, let's go check them out, meet them, and blah, blah, blah. So we went to St. Albans in Radford, Virginia. And the very first place that we went into, I mean, I was feeling like massive shit in every different location that we went into. But the first one, I kind of broke away from the crew, which I wasn't supposed to, but I'm notorious for doing that. I was like, I'm gonna go check this out while y'all go that way. And I went into, it was the what do you call it, like the furnace room or the boiler room. Yeah, I walked in there and immediately I was being choked. My airway was being cut off, and I knew I needed to get out, but at the same time I'm like, well, what the hell is going on, And then one of the crew leaders came in there, and he's like, holy shit. And Mike and Chris were in the bowling alley. So he called Mike in there, and he brought the REM pod and started asking questions. And one right after another. I mean, the guy admitted, yes, he was choking me. He didn't like me. He wanted me out of there. And there was some other things that he said or people asked and he agreed to. But that was on my very first time, and I was kind of actually hooked after. If that sounds weird, I was kind of hooked.
Oh no, it's an adrenaline rush. We say that all the time. It's
right.
The thrill of it, yeah.
Right.
So was it the validation that got you hooked, you think, or what was it?
Well, I think it's because I've always been in tune to the paranormal my whole life, and you go from one stage of not knowing what it is or not knowing what's happening. And there were several times that I would have some disconnect in it. I believe that when you're having something traumatic going on in your life, that it may go dormant. And so I would go through stages of being able to have abilities and then them shut down. And but in the past 9 years, they've just really come to the forefront, and then starting to do the investigations with the guys and Ghost Hunt Weekends, because I love going with them because they go to some really cool places. So, but yeah, it's addicting. It is definitely addicting. So.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm very addicted myself. So.
Right. Like we went to, well, there's a place in Tennessee that we go to a lot called Thomas House. And it's amazing because you can stay there the whole weekend and you're actually in the hotel. And since I go there so much, I'd like, I'll say that that's the one that's the most haunted, but I think that's just because I've been there so much and there's been so much activity. I mean, I've been rushed by a black mass. It was on one end of the hallway, and I'm walking in to go into my room, and it just starts coming forward, and I dive. I mean, I dove into that bedroom to try to miss it. And I've never had that happen. It was scary as hell, but I got out of its way. So,
yeah,
that's a good thing.
I got a couple of bruised knees there, but other than that, I was fine. So,
I've been charged down a staircase before, so I know what you're talking about at Ballinger. Yeah, just like go.
Well, no, you are famous for falling and breaking.
Oh, shut up.
Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that.
Always. Y'all are a broken record. I get it.
She sends me this picture of this bench that's broken and her legs sticking straight up in the air. And I'm like, there's no way in hell that somebody got that while it was happening. She's like, no, it's a reenactment.
No, we reenacted it, but it was so funny. Even it was funny.
I was on FaceTime with her one time when she fell down.
Dude, yeah. Walking up a curb, yeah.
And she sat down too fast. I'm like, yeah.
She's so cute, Shannon.
I'm sorry, y'all. I got a little head cold, so.
It's okay. We'll forget
Part of my sniffles. I thought it was a great idea to drive 3 hours in the rolling hills of the country, Northeast Texas, with the window down, headed to that investigation last night, and I'm miserable now. I was just loving the fresh air. It's gotten too
Note to self.
So when I get to see this lady in 3 weeks, this is so unfair because I'm very grateful that I got to meet Channing through her and I got to meet Jennifer through her. Those are my bitches. But I haven't got to meet you, and that was I can't wait to meet you. So
I know.
we're going to Jefferson, for 22 in a day. They're having 22 in a day.
Excited. Yeah.
Do you want to tell them about that one?
Yeah. The Wraith Chasers are going to be there. It's being hosted by RIP. It's not Rest in Peace like you would think it is. It's like Research Investigation Paranormal. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I've never been, and Texas is my home state, so it'll be fun.
And he was there last night helping out too, so that was cool.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm excited because I get to meet my. Not gonna say
it. Okay, everybody, we nickname each other Hooker. We're like, Hooker.
I'm gonna meet my hooker.
This is what we do. If someone's my friend, Beth, I've called Beth the hooker before. It's just like Hooker. Terms of endearment. I apologize.
Joe, has she called you Hooker?
Not yet.
Oh.
I think she's waiting to find a good one for me.
I'm holding back the real good ones. Trust me. No, it's
right. Something real interesting that I wanted to tell you about.
Sorry.
There, when we were at the Thomas house this one time, I'm a big believer in like dimensions and parallel universes and stuff like that. And we actually had an incident dealing with like time dilation. We were in what was called the seance room one night, and we were recording. There was a lady snoring. I may get this a little backwards, but there was a lady snoring. But on the EVP, there was nothing there. The very next night in the seance room, nobody was snoring. But on the recorder, we got the snoring that we heard the night before.
Right, interesting.
But that to me is crazy, because it's like, how do we not know that? How do we know some of the noises that we hear, some of the voices that we hear? How do we know that it's in our time?
Right.
Because time can be, we go by 24-hour clock, but that doesn't mean that other realms or other, dimensions go at that the same 24-hour clock. So we hear a knock. It could have been a fucking knock from, 20 years earlier, and it's just resonating at the same time because the humidity's right, the barometric pressure's right, the frequencies are right for it to just be completely the boom, and you hear it. I mean, we don't know. But I thought that was very interesting because of that incident, how that happened. And it kind of, it made my theory a little bit more valid when that happened. So.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Would you, Shannon?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, because we have us as in the earthly realm, we're okay. We understand 1 dimension, 2 dimension, 3 dimension. But past that, our brains are only working with just a small bit. So we can't quite understand, anything higher than that. And what's to say there's not a 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th dimension that we just don't know how it works, and we can't tap into that. It doesn't matter what equipment we use. It's just right now we can't. So
just like we can tap into some of our senses more than other people can, but that's just a small fraction part of our brain at work.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And sometimes when that happens, and I call them banners. I'll get something in my head, or somebody will show me something, and when you say it, it may not make sense, but then later on you're able to kind of piece it together, and it's like, holy shit.
Right.
And it makes you feel good, because it's like, okay, I'm not an idiot.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you're around everybody that's paranormal, there is no crazy. We're all crazy.
Yeah.
We gotta be to be in this field.
Yeah, right. I mean,
it doesn't take normal people.
Right. You can't say that you believe in ghosts, but yet you don't believe in aliens or cryptoids and stuff like that. It's like I don't know.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
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 I
Well,
need.
actually, I do get that from different people. People believe in paranormal or UFOs or cryptids. They believe in one but not the other. I'm like, how do how do you even do that?
It's how do you rationalize that?
Right. Yeah.
I was watching a show. I'm a big fan of Nick Groff and John Tenney. I think their minds, the way they work, it's kind of like outside of the box. They're not like narrow minded in that they're trying to discover new things all the time. And I like the way they talk about, the aliens and how can we say that they're not real when we're believing in everything else. I don't know. Those two people, it's mind blowing when you listen to them. So I've learned a lot from them.
Cool. So
So go ahead.
no, I was gonna ask you since you mentioned like Nick Groff. Who are some of the people that influence you in this field?
Well, definitely Nick Groff, John Tenney. I think they're amazing. I've heard Tenney can be a little bit, irritable sometimes, but that's okay because you don't have to like the person to learn from the person. I've never met him, so I've never met Nick either. But I used to love watching Nick, and don't hold this against me, anybody, but I did watch Ghost Adventures. But when Nick was on, but there's, and those are just the people. I mean, of course, Mike, Chris, and Brannon, they've been wonderful. I've enjoyed investigating with them. I've learned a lot from them, and I greatly appreciate that. But there's also people that I've never met, like Shannon, and there's other people that I've never met online that, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I know I can message them and ask questions. Timothy Dalton, Ernie Atwell, Sean Daniels, Kyle Cobb. He's an amazing demonologist, and let me tell you, this man, you can ask him anything and he knows the answer. It's unreal, but it's people like that make the paranormal a really good community of people, because there are people that are willing to help you, and they don't make you feel like you're an idiot, or go ahead, Shannon.
Sorry, I just made the comment today to someone, and I also put it in a post the other day. I said, because people were making fun of, I think it was a Facebook group caught on camera, picking on people that aren't that familiar with the paranormal, thinking they see something in pictures, pareidolia and all that stuff. And I was like, so there's a lot of, it's easier to be a mentor than it is to be a critic. Mentor people, help them out, let them know, like show them the way, because we're all new at some point. So yeah, we should.
All right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'm into a lot of different things, crystals, herbs. I use the Ouija board. I practice the craft. So, I'm a little bit, I do a lot of different things, and I love helping people with it. And I'm like a jack of all trades, master of none. But I love to learn. I love to read. And nobody in this field is an expert. If they say they are, then you can never know everything about the paranormal, because, well, just obvious reasons you can't, but there are people that are very willing to help. And I may be able to help people underneath me because I may know more than what they do, or they come to me and I'm more than willing to help. But then there's those people out there, like I was saying, Mr. Dalton and Ernie and Sean Daniels, all of them that are willing to help without even knowing me and never have met me. And I think it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So
someone has a question for you.
And Shannon. What is that? I see. Merry Christmas.
We talk a lot.
and that you haven't met yet that you'd like to meet. Oh, well, yeah, of course, that'd be Nick Groff. I would definitely like to talk to him. Yeah, him or Steve Gonsalves. I think that's how you pronounce it. I always get Steve and Mike's last names kind of transposed because they're so close. Sorry, Mike, if you're listening. Love you. But yeah,
so what are the people like in your circle, whether it's your friends or family? What do they think about what is it that you do?
Well, honestly, I'm very particular about who I let into my inner circle. And my boyfriend, Jeff, of course, is very supportive, especially since I supported his music career for many years and didn't say shit. So, and I kept my mouth shut just to keep it back there in case I ever needed it. So now, yeah, I'm like, don't you tell me. Nope, can't say nothing. But I moved my father in with me to take care of him. He's 83. And he makes fun of me. He pokes fun at me. You know, even when I picked up his hammer and I described his grandfather to a T, which I didn't know him, never met him. He looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, Dad, how do you think I did that? You know, well, hell, I don't even know how I did it. You know, but my friends, this past year, 2020 has just been a horrible year for most people. But to me, I have learned more this past year and met more people that I didn't know, and they're my close friends. You know, Jennifer, Channing, Lori, Jamie, Susan, and they're all from the paranormal, you know, and it's amazing. It's amazing because 2020 is going to be something that I'm going to choose to remember the positive instead of the negative, and just hope 2021 we're going to start it off with a bang. Yeah. So going to Harmony Hall right before I head out to Texas. I'm going to Harmony Hall with our Haunted Lives. So that one's going to be interesting. And then day after that, I got to fly out to Texas. So I'm probably going to have to drink a lot of energy drinks or a lot of coffee.
a lot of Coronas.
A lot of Coronas.
So am I just going to have to meet y'all at the airport and just do this one crazy weekend with like, I'm like, how long are you gonna be here?
I fly in Friday and then leave Sunday, so
typical weekend.
Yeah, typical weekend.
I'll make do.
So,
yes, you will.
So
you don't understand though.
Yeah. Susan had a good question about what place you'd like to investigate that you haven't yet.
Oh, geez. The Hinsdale House, Conjuring House, and the bigger places. I've only been to one penitentiary, and those have always fascinated me. I went to Missouri State Pen a couple of weeks ago, and of course I had a death row inmate thought it'd be funny to run his hand down my back. And I turned her, I said, Jennifer, I thought it was Jennifer behind me. And then I looked and she's in front of me. And I was like, what the fuck was that? Yeah, so, but I'd like to go back to another penitentiary. So, Susan, ghost hunting shenanigans are the best, aren't they, Susan? This is a girl that drinks one fireball and love you, Susan. David, Kristi is Shannon, the friend that was going to investigate with. No, Shannon's in Texas, David. But we'd like to get her here. Get her on one of our pods.
I'm always up for traveling.
I know you are.
You know this. I got so much coming up this year.
Louisiana.
Laveau. Yeah, you're coming. Well, We need to do Laveau. Remember, I was going to do that thing out in the middle of the woods? Well, I'm still going to do that. We're not going to do Laveau because we're going to make it a Bonnie and Clyde kill site plus out in the middle of the woods weekend. That way it's more laid back and not so structured. And it'll be a nice, like, free investigation for the people coming. We got about 15 veteran investigators coming, so it's going to be fun.
Jessica, I would need a corona to go ghost hunting. Well, Jessica, you know, it's best not to drink when you ghost hunt. Yeah, don't do it. No, I mean, if you are sensitive, sometimes if you drink too much, it will, like my birthday was a couple weeks ago. We had it at the Thomas house, and the Wraith Chasers were there. It was one of the Ghost Hunt Weekends events, and they tell me I had an amazing time. I have no clue. Yeah, I remember very little, but thank God I turned my recorder on when we were in the seance room, and it recorded for 45 minutes. And it was weird. We were using the Ouija board. I had my boo buddy out. People had the Ovilus. And we would ask a question, and the boo buddy would respond in correspondence to it. The meters would go off. Somebody would get on the Ovilus something that was relevant. It was like we were getting 4 or 5 different devices that were relevant to what we were talking about. Like the boo buddy, we were talking to a guy named, I don't remember his name now. Thomas? No, that's Thomas. Anyway, he was wanting to hear music, and we were playing saloon music, and he's like, no, I don't want that. And we figured out 70s. So we're going to play Stairway to Heaven, and the boo buddy said, what's your favorite song? You know, and then we asked the Ouija board, and it said, it was like, yes, going to that. And then it spelled out Van Halen. I'm like, what the hell? He wants to hear Van Halen, you know? And then the boo buddies says, what's 2 + 2? The Ouija board, 4. I'm telling you, it's. I know a lot of people don't, you know, have a lot of stock in the Ouija board, but it's. I've been using it since I was 16, so
okay.
It's.
Well, you know how to use it, so.
Yeah, definitely. So
you know what you're doing,
right? You can tell, or I can, if it's changed, if it's done like a 180, or if it's not who they're saying we're talking to, and you've got to close it down immediately, you know. So
right.
But you connect with different people. It's like we were talking about earlier, the frequencies and the energies and whatnot. There's sometimes people that you just connect with, and Channing, the one you met, if her and I get on the Ouija board, if it's a strong spirit, it's instantaneously, it will spell out whatever, you know. If it's a child spirit, sometimes it doesn't have the energy, and it'll go a lot slower. But then I've had people I've got on there that it just won't move at all. And I don't know if it's because they don't believe, or because I'm not connecting with them, or, I mean, it could be so many different things. But
they might be just curious but don't care to interact with you.
Right. So you just never know. Hi, our haunted live. Yeah. So, well, okay, let me ask you guys a question.
Okay.
Where would y'all like to go that you haven't been to?
Well, me personally, I don't know that many places, just because I just started getting into it. The only place I've ever gone was Haunted Hill House with Shannon. That's where I actually met her for the first time in person. But
Did it turn out good?
It was cool.
I drugged him up there.
Yeah. It was cool.
Oh, I thought you said you drugged him. I'm like, what?
Yeah, she drugged me up there. She did. But that's a whole other show.
I'm going with you, girl. I'm going with you.
That's a whole other show.
Yeah. What happens at Hill House stays at Hill House. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, look. Everybody knows if they're on, they know what this is.
Okay. I have a mascot too.
This is my mascot. I love unicorns, and
it reminds me of Deadpool. It's like,
what do they have unicorns in Deadpool?
yeah, he is a unicorn in Deadpool. I'll just leave it at that.
Is he riding
What
it?
does that say?
Haunted
Yeah,
Hill
pretty
House.
much.
Haunted Hill.
No, this is a place in Mineral. It's a place in Mineral Wells, Texas. It's a pretty creepy place, actually. It's got a lot of activity, a lot of dark, negative energy, and
A lot of history.
just a mixture of a lot of history, and it's very interesting. That place, very very interesting. Yeah, Mineral Wells, Texas. It's, I would say, southwest of Fort Worth, about 45 minutes.
Yeah, because I grew up in La Mesa, which is about, I think, 3 hours from it. It's definitely West Texas up there. Are they still building the? I was going to say
Baker?
the family hotel, the Baker Hotel. Are they still refurbishing that?
I think it's like a year behind schedule, if I was told correctly, but COVID and everything. But from what I'm hearing is they're really trying to just make it really nice. But man, but from this is hearsay now that they're not really trying to focus too much on the paranormal. This is hearsay. And I'm like, hell, shame on you.
How
Like,
can
why
you
would you do
not?
that? You know what? If I was to redo that building, I would make at least half of it for paranormal investigating. One, just make it to where it'll pass codes to inspections to get people in there to investigate, make sure it's safe. You're saving costs on, instead of remodeling all those rooms and putting all those other rooms in and get everything. And then people will have a place to stay. People would want to come to the events around town. But I'm sorry, that place is so huge, they're not going to be able to book it up. People come
That's a shame, though, because it does have a reputation for, I mean, come on, the girl driving off, trying to make it to the swimming pool.
But I don't know their full plans, though, and it's, like I said, it's supposed to be in 2023. I'm sure it's being pushed out more now because I don't know what their intentions actually are. That was all hearsay, so don't hold me to that, any of that. But, I'm just like,
well, go talk to them.
The potential. Do what?
So go talk to them and tell them they're making a mistake. I mean, there's some places that they try to make it into a haunted place, and it just doesn't. It doesn't work. But that place, it's just got too much, and people know it by having those things that happen in it. That, I don't know. I guess it's my paranormal way of thinking that it might make more money than just being a regular resort type thing, I mean, they can't run it off the water anymore.
They could delegate like half the floors, just divide those floors up into 3 sections and have those and be zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and have 3 different teams being booked on a Friday night in each zone, 3 different teams on a Saturday night, and they're completely away from each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, there's just, if they were trying to make money, I don't know, but because that place is huge, they're spending a lot of money. It's a lot of investments to redo it, but they're not going to book that place full house because there's nothing going on there except for paranormal.
Because
so I don't know.
When it was erected, it was based off of the water that would heal people, the minerals in the water, henceforth mineral wealth, but that's, they can't run off of that anymore. So nobody's going to go to mineral wells. I mean,
just to stay there, unless it's with the paranormal in mind.
Exactly.
And they would be just screwing themselves. But they might have their own plan going. We just don't know about it, or I don't know about it yet. But that's just my opinion. And I'm like, what are you doing? Do something with that baby. Make it grow.
Shan Camp has a pretty good question. Is that SLS cam app legit? Do you know? I can't see how it is without those lasers.
Yeah, I can't.
Honestly,
see without the lasers.
I don't. Apps are.
I've never heard of the app.
Well, there are. Actually, I downloaded one time, and it did map out my cat, TV. A plant. It was able to tell me what something was, but to me it's like, okay, I just don't know the stick figures. I mean, I know a lot of people use it on TV and whatnot, but I I don't hold much stock in the apps. I mean, the necrophonics seems to be pretty good. A lot of people use that. There's
Yeah.
a couple of Ovilus apps. I mean, because geez, the Ovilus is $400 or $500, and most people can't afford that. But there's a couple of them that have that I've noticed that has corresponded. Like when I'm doing the Estes method, that people say that it will correspond to the to what I'm saying while I'm doing that. But I just don't use a whole lot of apps. So yeah, sometimes
Yeah, I
it
just can't see that without a laser. I mean, that's the lasers are what make the SLS the SLS. So yeah,
right,
it's totally
right,
different technology then. So
right,
I've never even heard of it. That's interesting. I'm gonna just check it out just out of curiosity. Thanks for bringing
right,
that up.
right. You're welcome.
Just to
Yeah.
be
I'll,
nosy, I'm like the SLS.
I can't afford they call it what, a god helmet.
Then called God Helmet on Trust. This is see, hear spirits. Well, right now with the paranormal being like wide open, I mean, even 10 years ago, it's grown so much in the past 10 years, and it's being more accepted. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to try to make profit off of things, saying, I've got this, and this is how. And there's a lot of people that are taking other people's ideas and just tweaking it a little bit
Right.
and trying to make it their own. And you got to be really careful about stuff like that. I mean, there's people that will charge $700-800 saying it's a ghost box, and it's just a radio with a couple of modifications on it. Now granted, I can't make the modification, so I'll pay $800, but I know I'm getting ripped off, because I don't know how to do it. But you've got to be real careful with stuff like that, because just use it out in the field and see how it resonates with you. And I mean, there's a lot of equipment that I have that I don't ever use anymore. And, it just.
So, what is your go-to equipment when you take equipment with you? What is it that you actually do pack?
I usually, of course, usually my recorder. I love my EVPs. I usually have the REM pod with me. Boo Buddy's great. There's a lot of people that because it does generate. It gives like a minute in between, and it'll say phrases. What it's trying to do is trying to get the spirits to interact with it. So it's always good to have a recorder next to it. So, like for instance, the Boo Buddy started singing A B C D, and then I got a little girl going. Ah. You couldn't hear the letters, but you could hear the musical tone in sequence. And that's amazing. So I like the Boo Buddy. The EDI or Eddie is pretty good. I put it out just so I can get, like, if I'm getting EMF from other stuff, like the K2 and the REM pod, I like to have 2 or 3 things to go off at the same time, which doesn't always happen, but it's a lot better when it does, because it gives it more, more reliability, that it's working. So. But other than myself, that's about it that I take.
Yeah, that's what Shannon was kind of saying. Bring yourself, right?
Right. Yeah, it's always best to walk in a room without anything and just see if you can get a feel for it. And if you don't, you don't. Sometimes you're not in the mindset, and some people don't have abilities, which I don't quite believe that. I think everybody on some level has abilities, whether if it's gone dormant, or they won't recognize it, or they don't want to recognize it. It's something that if you have, you can make it stronger. Working on it, there's a lot of things that you can do. But if you don't want to, then it's gonna go away. So, or go dormant is what I think. But
yeah, I made a lady cry last night and sort of talking to her. I was just sitting outside and she started talking about her mom died when she's a baby. And I was just looking at her and I said, butterfly. She wants me to tell you butterfly. And she just starts crying, like bawling. I'm like, okay, this isn't what I wanted to do right now.
That's funny that you say
we
that.
sat and talked.
Right.
Well, it was validation, you know, confirmation. Yeah.
Right.
We talked about it for a while and talked about the situation and everything. And I read, you know, how I felt about it and stuff.
That's kind of funny that with the butterfly, in a lot of cultures, the butterfly means, you know, rebirth, death, rebirth, kind of like a reincarnation type thing, or somebody's passed on and they're a message.
Well, she said she was a year old when her mother died in a car wreck, and she said that every time she sees a butterfly, she tells herself that it's her mom.
Right.
And so that was possible. You know, yeah. I know what I heard. Yeah, I was like butterfly. So, but she's always, you know, that was the word that her mother wanted me to. Sorry, start using my hands. Was the word that her mother wanted me to tell her to let her know that she was there. So it was just like it meant the most to her. So y'all quit it. I can't sit still anyways. I'm like always like moving my headphones.
Jazz hands working.
And I'm like, everything's going. But there was one time I was in Ingles and I was going down an aisle and there was a lady and I was like, oh shit, I got one of those banners. And when you get something that somebody's a total stranger, it's like, do you say something or do you not? But it's like, okay, what had happened was her son had passed away. I'm not for sure how soon or whatever, but he wanted me to tell her the yellow butterfly that she saw this morning was him. And I'm like, oh God, this woman's either going to think I'm batshit crazy or she's going to bawl. But I felt like I had to tell her, and I told her, and she started crying. She said, I did see a yellow butterfly this morning. And I was like, it was your son. And it just, I mean, I started to cry too, actually. You know, it's just, but there's sometimes that people don't want to hear it. What is it? You got my teeth.
What's wrong with my teeth? Not Joe's teeth. Why Kristi's teeth?
Yeah. I hope that's a good thing, Shan. Unless she wants to worm around her.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is this?
Mementos.
Shit.
So is there any place that you've investigated that you don't want to go back to or you're hesitant to go back to?
Yes. Okay. Tracy City.
That was a quick yes.
Yeah. Tracy City in Tennessee. It's I mean, I've had attachments before and I've had some pretty freaky things happen. I mean, from spirits crawling up my legs while I'm in bed. You could feel the hands just going up my legs. And I'm thinking it's my boyfriend. I'm like, oh, he came back from work early. But it wasn't him. And it was freaky. But, see, she fell again.
She fell again. She fell down again.
I don't have the laptop. Shut up. I don't have the laptop right now. So I'm using my phone. I've got it sitting. I got my suitcase on the bed. I've got 2 blankets stacked up.
Right.
My son's stuffed dinosaur with its butt facing me to hold the phone, and it fell.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
I'm gonna count that as a fall anyway.
No, but Tracy City. It's a little small community.
I'm known for this. It's horrible.
No. But it's got like 4 different locations. It's got like a cemetery and a bakery and these little cabins that used to be, I think it was a Boy Scout or some kind of camp type thing. And then they have these things called the coke ovens. I think that's what they call them. But back, it was or coal oven. I don't know. Somebody message it on there if I'm getting it wrong. But there was mining back then, and it was still when there was like racial things and whatnot. And a lot of the like the African American workers that they wanted to get rid of, they would throw them in these coke ovens, and they would, of course, they'd die, and I was drawn into one of them, and I went in and I'm sticking my hand in all these holes that are in this little cubby thing, and I found something in one of the holes, and I pulled it out. It was just a rock. That's all it was. But I brought it home with me, and well, Jennifer was sitting at the camp. When I got back to the camp, she's like, "Who were you talking to?" And I'm like, "I wasn't talking to anybody." She said, "You were talking to a man." I was like, "No, I wasn't." She said, I distinctly heard you conversing with a man. So after that, the next day I went to a hotel room, and I felt the entity there. I had the fear of God that it was going to grab me by the ankles and pull me out of the bed. Got home. I put my Eddie, put the rock next to it. Of course, the famous numbers, 666 shows up on the Eddie, EMF going off the chain. And I'm like, all right, shit, maybe I shouldn't have brought that with me,
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm a little leery to go back there because of that. I'm not saying I'm not going to, because I like to conquer my fears, So I will eventually go back, but Chad's been there. They've taken the guys back several times, and I just haven't gone back yet. So but I will. I still have the rock. It's actually on my nightstand, believe it or not. And this has been.
Oh, cool.
This has been since June.
Okay.
Yeah, Susan.
Well,
it's on my nightstand, Susan. but I have cleansed it, so it's. Yeah.
I want to go to the Paris Catacombs. I've been to the ones in Scotland under the Royal Mile, but I want to go to the Paris Catacombs.
Oh, that'd be
down
awesome.
where all those bones are just lying in. That would be so crazy.
That would
creepy.
be awesome. There's a place. What's it called? Lep Castle.
I'm going there in July.
Anyway, my I'm adopted, but I found my birth mother a few years ago, and her last name is Carol. Well, when they would come over, and migrate to the United States, usually it probably would have been O'Carroll over there. They dropped the O, and it turns out to Carol. Come to find out, Lep Castle was owned by O'Carrolls for many, many years. I mean, that was, centuries ago. But I'm like, of course that piques. Maybe let me go in there and see if I can talk to some old relatives, There you go. But getting over there is going to be the hard part. That'd be cool, though. They have a thing in there called the Overlay. What?
We're staying the night there. That trip to can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that trip to Ireland that I'm taking from the first of the night. We're going to Spike Island. We're going to investigate there and stay the night there. That's like Ireland's version of Alcatraz. And Lep Castle, we're staying the night there. We're going to investigate and stay the night there. It's not too late to jump on. They've got like a few spots.
Yeah, but I've got Croatia in August, and then the UK.
I know. I keep trying to talk you into it like we haven't talked about it. I know.
Right.
I'm trying, Joe. I'm going to get her to go with me because it would be fun.
Well, if I
Who knows? It might get postponed. Who knows because of COVID.
Yeah, because Croatia got postponed last year, so hopefully it doesn't get postponed this year. But I've got to go. This has nothing to do with paranormal, but I am a 30 Seconds to Mars junkie. Everything is Jared and Shannon Leto, and I'm going to Camp Mars, and I'm going to meet them.
Cool.
And meditate and do hippie stuff.
Yes, I'm going to meditate and do drum circles with Shannon. So
why don't y'all read this question and both of you guys can answer it.
What's your opinion on whether or not they can read your mind? I did an experiment. It appears Crossover spirits can read. Yeah, definitely. I definitely believe spirits can tap into.
Yeah.
Some spirits, in my opinion, are stronger than others. Some have different capabilities of whether they can touch you or whether they can manipulate, electricity or electrical things, or pull your energy. It's just like people. We all have different types of, things that we can do, or different talents. And spirits, I think there would be some of them that would be better of reading your mind or knowing what you're thinking. I do know one that I had an attachment with. It knew what would scare me, and that's what it would do. So I have no doubt. Maybe not all of them, but there are some. I believe they can.
Well, think about it though. I mean, it's like it's the intent of the energy, and like they don't have ears. They're not, ears that listen in a body, human body form anymore. They work with a totally different senses, and like I said, it's like just think of like if you're trying to communicate with a loved one, or you're just like, all right, don't jump out at me. You don't have to say it for that spirit to understand that you don't. You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Like you don't ever have to talk, like when you talk to your loved ones, like your grandfather or something like that. I just, I miss you. That you say it in your head.
Right.
Or, whatever it is you believe in. Like it's that you're transmitting that energy, that into intent, if that makes sense.
Right. It's different when it's with loved ones, though. With the ones that are not as friendly. They're not all Caspers, but they're not all bad either. I'm the people that go off into the demon rampage. Zach, I didn't say that, but they're not. They may be pissed off people, but you don't. You have no idea. Why they're so angry. They may be just angry because they're trying to get your attention and you're not listening. So they finally scratch you. It doesn't mean, I got 3 scratches. It's a demon. I don't think so. But I said, hi, Chad. How you doing? So, but I really don't. I don't think that that they're all going to be bad. And even saying that they're evil, like I said, you don't know what happened, if they died tragically, or if they just have some unfinished business, or they, even with the religion, if they're Christian and they know that they were a shitty person in life, they may just, hey, I'm going to hell and I'm not ready to go, but that's their train of thought. People that believe in other faiths may not think that way. It all depends on what you believe when you're alive and when you pass over. So, I mean, do we really even know exactly where we go? We know that we're energy, and energy can't die, but exactly where the fuck do we go? And,
they don't get it either most of the time. So it's not like all the answers are answered once you cross over to the other realms and, the spirit world and all that stuff.
Well, there's several spirits that I have passed over that they didn't even know they were dead. There was the church at the Thomas house. My friend Channing and I, we were doing one, and it was somebody that had nothing to do with the Thomas house. He just happened to be passing through, and we connected with him, and it was funny because the group that was in there prior to us, Shay, she's a psychic, and she got the same name that I got, with unbeknownst to me, she had gotten the name, but we ended up talking to the guy, and he had no idea, and it took us every bit of 15-20 minutes. It was almost like counseling somebody, and convincing them that it's going to be okay. And finally he said, I was like, who do you see? Who do you see? And he spelled out Father, and then it just automatically went to goodbye. And that was it, and it's a good feeling, but a lot of them don't know that they're dead. Yeah. Or a lot, some do, and they take advantage of it and like to screw with people.
I've seen a lot of confusion with spirits. They don't know what the hell is going on. Just
Right.
absolute confusion. A lot of spirits are being held because of darker energies or just
Right.
negative energies are
Right.
holding them there and trapping them there. Just a lot of confusion I've noticed with spirits.
Right.
It's sad. It's
Or
really
like there's
sad.
new
Like if I
buildings.
become a spirit, if I become a ghost, like I don't want to be the ones that's sad and lonely. I want to be jacking with everybody, but the confused ones, I take it like it emotionally hurts me a lot of times because I can feel their sadness and confusion,
Right.
and I don't want to
Right.
be like that. I don't want it to
Right.
get that way for me.
And a lot of times, if it's something that's stuck to the land,
Hmm.
from centuries ago, and all of a sudden there's this new house there, but they're stuck to the land, and they have no idea what's going on and why this is there, and they think it's theirs, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't seem right, and that would be very confusing, very confusing.
Yeah.
So, but then that goes back. You could go back into parallel universes and different dimensions, and so I mean, it all kind of flows into, or even, I mean, hell, like I think Bigfoot is a ghost. I think Bigfoot actually roamed thousands and thousands of years ago, and the motherfucker's a ghost, and that's what people are seeing. I mean, why not?
No, I'm just laughing because I'm watching Joe. I'm watching Joe.
Because Shannon knows that I'm a flesh and blood believer, but I mean, I've heard people, say that before too. I've heard,
Right.
like I said, every theory under the sun about Bigfoot.
Right. Or like aliens. How do we not know it's a hologram? It could be a hologram up there. They're higher beings. They should
I know
be
enough to know. I don't know a damn thing. That's all I know. There's just so much unknown out there. It's insane,
right.
But it's fun. It's fun exploring it. Absolutely.
I was watching on the G Crew the other day. Nick had John Tenney on there, and they were talking about aliens and whatnot, and he had put it in like groups of you have people that believe in the aliens, you have the nuts and bolts people, and then I can't remember the other category, but he's like, think about it. Aliens are supreme, or they're supposed to be supreme beings. Do you really think they're going to make their spaceships with nuts and bolts and have these lights flashing around everywhere? No, they're going to be have some type of advanced technology. I mean, because even right now, like airplanes, back in the 70s, they didn't even need lights on the airplanes. That was because of all the radar and everything like that. Planes could fly without the lights. The only reason why they have left them on is because the people freak out. It's more for people. But so you've got the aliens. It just doesn't make sense to me that they would make their ships with all these lights and nuts and bolts and shit like that. But I guess we'll never know, at least not in our lifetime. I don't think we will. Unless the government decides to come off some of the shit that they know.
Right.
But
I think some of that stuff might be forthcoming here soon.
right. Well, my father worked for the Pentagon, and he did transport some papers, some files and whatnot from Area 51, and Wright Patterson up in Ohio. Apparently, that's where they took all of the leftover stuff from that crash. But of course, he couldn't tell me anything. But we were watching a show one day, and it had something about aliens on it, and I heard him say, "They're out there," and I'm like, "Excuse me, what did you say?" He's like, "I didn't say nothing." I said, "Dad, yes, you did." I was like, "Repeat what you said." And he just said, "Well, we're not alone." But he wouldn't say anything else. And still to this day, he won't elaborate. And I mean, he's 83 now. But so I refuse to believe that the government doesn't know a lot more. I think they feel like Americans can't, or people as a whole can't handle it.
Well, I agree with that. Look how we act with toilet paper, so. You know.
Yeah, getting manage toilet paper, right?
Right. But,
I mean, hell, people freak out about the simplest things right now. I mean, really, you're going to tell them, yes, there's aliens, but I mean, damn, back medieval time period, back even back to the pyramids, they had the drawings and all that would depict things flying in the air,
right.
paintings from the medieval time period. I mean, what the fuck is this little thing up here?
Right.
That looks like a little oval thing when there was no aircraft.
Right.
They couldn't. I mean, I think what was this, Da Vinci or whatever his name, tried to make the little flying things, and he jumped off of a roof and broke his legs. But there was no flying anything back there, and there's been so many things that have depicted something in the air.
Right.
Even the Hindu religion has stuff like the chariots and everything up in the air, and so even back then, I think there was signs of it. And I thought I saw one time, but I can't say for sure. But
Yeah. Well, I definitely saw one time.
You did?
Yeah, while I was fishing, me and my father and I were fishing, and he pointed to me. He was maybe 60 feet away from me. He's like, "Hey Joe, what's that?" And he pointed up to our left, and we saw this disc, no lights, no noise, no nothing, just go right above us. Maybe about 300 feet above us. And
Right.
this thing just moved so slow. It was moving slower than anything that I think. If there's a certain airspeed that planes need to stay in the air
To keep it up, right?
Yeah, this thing was just
The
moving
one
so
that
slow.
Right, the one that I saw, it looked like the infinity sign or like a sideways hourglass. It was iridescent. It was pretty low, but like you said, no noise. There was no like jet fuel, nothing exhaust from behind, no noise, going very, very slow. And there's no way that it could have stayed up in the air. No lights on it. It just, Jeff and I were looking at it as like, are we looking at what we think we're looking at? And then when I came home to research it, it was not uncommon for people to see that shape that it had been spotted various places. So, but yeah, I can say that I think I saw one, but who knows?
You saw a UFO by definition, I guess.
Right, because it was unidentified.
But
the object.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. But it was fun. It was fun. Very interesting. So.
Yeah, we're coming up on our time here, guys. Before we leave, just wanted to ask Kristi, you have any advice for people, for newcomers maybe to the field of the paranormal? What do you think you might want them to know?
Just mainly don't get intimidated, because there, like I said earlier, there's people that will help you. And I know, like, I'm not good with technology. I mean, you had to help. I was worried all day today if I was going to be able to sign into this damn thing, So, I mean, there's things that can be intimidating, like the equipment. How does it really work? Am I doing it right? Or do I look like an idiot? Or, it's, but don't let that intimidate you. If it's something that interests you and something that you have a drive to want to do it, then just jump in, and of course it's going to be scary. And even the people that say that they don't get scared very easily, they're lying. People get scared, but you don't let it overcome you. And
I like getting scared.
It's an adrenaline thing. I mean, hell, I'll be 50 next year, and I'll still get on the bungee jump things. Somebody's saying hi, but I can't see who it is. So hi, whoever you are. But
type your name.
Right. But yeah,
type your name.
It is an adrenaline thing, and it's always because something new every time. Something new every time. And when you get that, because you're not always going to get it on equipment. And one thing I did learn from Mike and Chris and Brannon is the best experiences are your personal experiences, the ones that nobody can take away from you,
Right.
because it happened to you, you felt it, and beyond a shadow of a doubt, you know what the hell happened. And those are the best. They're the best. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was talking to
like
someone
that.
a couple of days ago, and I was explaining to her about the stuff that happened to me because I actually have a lot of experience with the paranormal in my old house I used to live in. And I was telling her, me and my whole family, we all got poked. Like I got poked in the ribs a couple of times. I heard footsteps. The faucets would come on in the house. The water faucet in the shower. And she was just like, "No, that's not what happened." I'm like, "Well, I know what happened." So that's all that really
right,
matters.
right.
Yeah.
But,
I know it happened. I don't care what you think.
and so, how can people get a hold of you? I mean, I don't know if you have an email or people get a hold of you.
Well, right now, Our Haunted Lives here in North Carolina is the group that I'm with. We're on YouTube, Twitter, all of that, Facebook and whatnot. That's my local group. Of course, I do a lot of things with Ghost Hunt Weekends. If people are interested in doing events with Chad and the Wraith Chasers, that's, if you're new to it and you want to learn a lot, that's the way to go, I would say, because Chris, Mike, and Brandon they're amazing, and they take the time to they answer the questions but yeah, I'd say Ghost Hunt Weekends, look them up. They're on Facebook, on YouTube. Of course, the Wraith Chasers, they used to be called, it was Tennessee Wraith Chasers, but now Chris, Mike, and Brandon just go by Wraith Chasers. So, but Our Haunted Lives, you can get in contact with me on that, or with David and Neil. So that's it.
Do you guys do a residential stuff too? If someone needed help or anything, or
I do. I have, and we haven't yet. We had a case coming up next week, but the lady hasn't signed the contract yet, so or I don't know about that one. But I've done several on my own for like cleansing and clearing and seeing what I could get, because they had questions as to what was going on in their house and whatnot. But that's just here locally.
okay.
But we're branching out, so hopefully the future is going to just keep going and going and going, because I'm not
You
stopping.
come to Texas.
Yeah.
You need to get your butt to Texas. I'm just saying.
I know. Because I definitely don't like North Carolina. So.
What about you, Shani? Anything to add or contact or your Facebook
I'm
group?
just glad we got Kristi on here. I was like, hey, I want my friend to come on the show. I mean, honestly, like in the middle of the night, so many times if I had any questions or just to call and just laugh with her or talk about anything serious, some very confidential stuff, funny stuff that's going on. It's like, I'm calling Kristi. So it was cool because I want to kind of showcase. Well, I just want to showcase her, so people can see like the person that I like.
Right,
I like her. She's cool. So.
Oh, thank you. I think you're pretty cool too.
Love
okay.
you.
She's okay.
I love Joe. She didn't say
right,
Joe. She said Shannon.
Yeah.
And I dropped my phone.
Fall down again?
Don't stop. Oh my gosh. The phone fell. I didn't fall.
I bring out the best.
I know.
Keep her in bubble wrap is what you need to do.
I know. My phone fell. I didn't fall that time. If anybody just tuning in, I have a tendency to have no grace and fall, no matter like trip over cracks in the sidewalk, curbs, and so I get a lot of heat for it.
Her feet.
Yeah.
My feet.
Yeah.
Cool, guys. Thank you for joining everyone in the chat room. I appreciate that. I appreciate all the participation. That's always a cool thing. And
well, thank you all so much for having me on.
Yeah, we'll have to have you on again. You're definitely a lot of fun. And man, you were talking just like nothing. And I told you that once the show
Did you
started,
notice?
she just went on, and she was like, I was like, man, I can't get a word in now. But, but that's a good thing. I promise you, that's a good thing. I love that when the guest just takes over the show. That's the best thing. I can get up and go get a Coke or coffee or a beer or something. So that's the best thing ever. I like that.
All right. Well, thank y'all. I appreciate it.
All right, everyone. Y'all guys have a good night. Thank you very much. And hold on real quick, Kristi.
Hold on.